Hello, Pyramid Energy. I hope you're all well. Let's do a reading. I decided to start with my full moon deck, the Moonology Oracle cards. And as I was shuffling, I was just looking at the position I was sitting in and, where I am. And I'm basically at the edge of my seat. Not in terms of the feeling, but just physically. And I carried on shuffling and I heard, the idea of being on the precipice of something. And then kept shuffling and then I heard posture. I was looking at my own posture. And so I looked at the meaning of posture. And what caught me is a particular approach or attitude. And the cards that I pulled, I got the energy is gaining momentum, waxing moon, which feels like it confirms, this feeling of being on the edge of something. And the other card I got is conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse. I've gone back to look at what was actually happening during the last full moon eclipse. And it says, I looked it up, 8th November. And on the clock, as I said that, I had 1, 2, 3. And when I went back to the videos that I posted, and I don't know if you journal and can go back to where you were at the beginning of November, but this was a time of feeling sort of suspended in this space where one doesn't really know what they want to do, how they want to move forward, almost like somewhat lost in a void, feeling lost in terms of what is my purpose, a review. And a lot of questions around why, what is my why do I do what I do? And a distancing, almost a forced distancing between yourself as you've known yourself and where you're headed. And going back to, I'll link in some of these, 2 of these videos that I posted around that time. There was a review, a revisiting of the past. So past self coming to meet you where you are now, and a future coming to meet you where you are now, to review how we're going to do things and to gather the courage and strength to remind you that there was a time in the past where you felt lost. The past was like this version of yourself visiting you in the past, so you could see yourself in that state of despair and, like a witness. And, like a flashback to a moment where your current self is able to see your past self. This is hard to explain. But that being sort of a confirmation that your future self does see you right now and comes to remind you that there is a future we're moving towards, a reassurance. And so what I'm seeing right now, let's call this now today, is that review has taken quite some time and a lot of work has happened during this period. A lot of work around what is the why? What is your why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you do it the way you do it? And I feel like we finally settled in this space where we're getting comfortable, and a lot of shedding has happened around noise. And now all that work has happened and you've managed to shed all of that, and now it's all about you and all about what you want. So while this awareness was there that it should be this way, it now is this way. And here we are. And just to add, this is what shifting timelines looks like and feels like. Because if you look at yourself now and you go back to what you were reviewing then, you get a good sense of the kinds of things that we do when we're shifting timelines. And it's often described like go to sleep tonight, wake up tomorrow, different person. And yes, this is real. This is how it feels. But there's a lot that is processed in between, because there's a catching up that needs to happen. A lot of integration needs to happen for you to complete that transformation, at least of that stage. There's also this sense that prior timelines that have been jumped, there's been a struggle to reconcile with things that you feel you should have left in the past, things that come back. And I feel like right now there's been such a major transformation. There is no question as to what will be allowed back in and what won't. And those insecurities around how will I handle this thing revisiting me now, that insecurity is gone. And there's like clear space and clarity around how you show up. And I'm also seeing a person who feels fully integrated right now. So we're in a space of full integration, and we're waiting to see what happens next. And there's also that peace with what happens next. I've actually got shivers on my right cheek, and the right side of my body represents the future. It represents moves forward, steps forward. The strengths that I take with myself as I move forward. You feel stable. You feel like you have a stability you have not had in a very long time. And while stability might have been apparent to you, it was not fully felt. I feel you as stable. As I was setting up to do this reading, I heard the words, what if? Like what if this, what if that? And I didn't have it in context yet, but just now as I'm pulling out the tarot cards, I'm hearing what if. And so it's those what ifs that no longer concern you. There's an embracing of what the future holds. The fear of the future is not there. The fear of the unknown is not there. There's stability. And this stability is inside. And so there's also like a huge shift in perspective around where stability is born and where stability comes from. Because there was a time you'd look at your external circumstances and, connect that to feelings of stability, needing that to shift in order to feel stable. And now you're connecting very deeply with this inner sense of stability, which is born of trusting your past is what it is and is what it has become for those reasons to bring you to this present moment, and trusting the future because it is the past you're currently creating that is assisting you to create your future. And so there's a real stability in the present moment. I have 818 on this clock, and earlier I had 616, but this 818 is taking me back to this momentum card. And I see the one as you in the center, and I almost see, it's like you're rowing a boat and you've got both your hands you have your hands on I don't know what you call those sticks are that you row with. But you are the one that creates this momentum. You are the creator of the momentum. So when you want to slow the boat down, it's you that slows down. You feel very much in control. And while we don't know the results we're going to reap, you're stable, and you feel like you're in control. And I want to say, as within, so without came up for me now. And it's this, I think that's how I'm feeling and explaining and experiencing the feeling of uncertainty within that then creates a perception of uncertainty without. And now that we have stability within, built from within, we're able to perceive what is without with stability. And we're able to also grasp this within this feeling of being fully integrated. It's affecting how we actually show up, how we speak about ourselves, how we how we explain ourselves feels true. And so, that moment when someone asks you that dreaded question, or what used to be a dreaded question, so what do you do? The true answer comes out, and it feels real, and it feels unapologetic. You feel so stable. You feel so integrated. I just had the Three of Wands pop up with the Queen of Swords. And so for me, this is like readiness. It's like you're expecting something is going to come in. We keep getting these tests, these cycle runs, like, I'm ready. And then something comes in, and, there were times you would plop on the test. This was also part of the lesson. You can feel something's coming, but you feel ready for it, whatever it is, whether it's good or whether it's bad, good and bad, not the best words to use, but that's what came out. And whether it's something you want or something you don't want, there's no uncertainty around how you're going to show up. And you're not really worried about being tested. You're actually not worried about that. And mainly because of this beautiful thing, this beautiful truth. Whatever it is not going to change who you are. I felt that. Whatever it is not going to change who you are. I also feel this almost an overnight calming of the nervous system. As if either you were listening to some audio overnight reminding you who you are, positive affirmations, or like as if I've got rain that started during this reading outside. I don't know if you can hear it, but it feels like those nights where you go to sleep and there's no rain, and it rains overnight, and by the time you wake up in the morning it's not raining anymore, but you have that refreshed feeling. I sense that refreshment in your soul and in how you relate to your nervous system. I feel like you're being so much more gentle on yourself, and you're not as highly strung as you felt yesterday. It even feels like it could have been like a dream you can't even remember, where someone visits you and that also reminds you who you are. This is hard to describe. I was shuffling and I got the Eight of Wands, and just the way it landed and flipped in my hands. This is movement, communication, incoming. And then I got the Emperor. I want to just lay the cards down before I get into this. I just want to say, this is really good energy. This is really good energy. It feels like relief combined with being so proud of yourself. You've also traveled a long way. You've traveled a long way, and for a long time you felt so alone. Like you were on this journey alone. And you finally feel like you're not alone. You feel supported. You feel so supported. I have the cards here in front of me. You're showing up in the Ace of Wands and death and rebirth. And, I'm seeing this winding staircase. I'm seeing you as where you are right now. And this light coming out of the center of the staircase is all the wisdom that you've collected along the way on your journey as you've been climbing. And the death card representing this clarity around exactly where you are right now in this rebirth. And here there's also this reconciliation that's happened between how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. Now, the irony I'm picking up from this spread is, I've said that there's no distance between you and you. I've said this a number of times. But right now in these cards, I'm picking up a distance between how blessed, how good you're feeling about where you are, your courage, and all the things that you feel you can celebrate about yourself right now. Even if that is also including, a review of yourself and where you've been and where you find yourself now and your stability now. I'm seeing you looking at yourself and wondering whether this is appropriate. I want to expand on this. In your area of I'm jumping around here on the spread. In the area of what you want the most and what you fear the most. I've got the King of Wands and the Five of Pentacles. This is speaking to me about you want to execute on your visions. You feel empowered to execute on your vision. Okay? Yet this lion is standing behind you. And you're almost wondering, maybe I should keep this lion a little bit closer. Maybe I shouldn't just have the lion behind me in the distance. Maybe I shouldn't be so unafraid of this lion. Maybe I should bring this need for this lion with me. You're checking yourself. And the Five of Pentacles is representing this. It is a checking of yourself. You don't want to fool yourself. And that's how I see these cards, that where the position of what's crossing you, where you're showing up. This is the Four of Wands and the Five of Wands. And this speaks to me of, I don't want to call it fear. I want to call it, you are apprehensive about celebrating too much. You hold a slight apprehension to this. And I asked for clarity, and what I'm getting is that while you are celebrating yourself, you also still in decision mode. There's decisions you need to make, moves you want to make, and so you want to make these with clarity. And so you don't want to get lost in this space. You want to remain clear. You want to remain stable. Let's say, it's time to celebrate. Let's celebrate. And then there's that don't celebrate too much. We have stuff to do in the morning. It feels like that energy. In the cards where you're coming from, I have you in the Tower, the Ace of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles. And this speaks to the gradual process that you've been going through, this timeline jump. The word jump right now feels like this is not a jump. If we look at it from the perspective of someone who's looking at you from the outside, yes, it's a jump. But from your inner perspective, it feels like a long, drawn out, slow motion leap is actually how I'd describe it. And during this leap, what you've discovered, you look at how she's holding this cup. You've completely changed how you look at these opportunities, how you create things that you love in your life. You're now looking at things with a greater sense of empowerment. Like you hold the cup, you put into it what you want, you make the wish, you watch it transform. And so how you're engaging your growth and your manifestations is so different to before. Again, because that fear is not there, that fear of what you might create. There's this self-trust and this feeling of stability that says, I can only create what I want. And I want to say that this is born of being very real with yourself. This is actually where this comes from. This comes from not expecting other people to do for you. This comes of not being anyone's victim. You're not your own victim. And so when something comes up for you, you feel empowered that you now have something to work on for yourself. You have something to transform. You do not have a circumstance that is beyond your control. This is a shift. Another thing that came up as I was about to lay all the cards down were the words, this is going to be wild. This is wild, as in it felt like what you're going to see is going to amaze you. What you're going to find, what's coming in. And in your near future, I've got the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups. And I also want to touch on your surrounding circumstances, okay, what's surrounding you, which is the High Priestess, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Four of Cups in reverse. What's about to come into your life is a number of offerings that you have attracted. And I believe that this is in your awareness. And when I say that, I don't mean the full picture of what it looks like. But it's like you being in this state of self-love is now creating and attracting all of the things that you want. Even if you don't know you want them, they're going to come in. This is the building of this momentum that's been happening. And I see you in a state of grace as you receive these things, not in a state of overwhelm. I see you handling it with grace, handling it with gratitude. And I looked for another G word. This is weird, but I looked for another G word and I heard you're handling it with grit. What a beautiful word. You're going to be handling this with grit. That means you're going to get stuck in. You are bringing all of yourself into your life, embracing all parts. I've got my hands like wide open in like this open grasp, like you're ready. You're hungry for more. You're hungry for, you're even up for a challenge. And the only way I can explain this feeling is like you've made room. You've made room in your life to be able to handle a challenge with all this good stuff. At the top of mind, I have the Seven of Wands and the Queen of Wands. And this third card I laid out now, even though these cards have been laid out the whole time, on the screen, I mean. And this speaks to me around, what I was getting as I was shuffling for this card was this reminder to rest. So that's where the Four of Swords comes from now, is to make sure you rest. And this is a reminder to remember that the things that the ideas you're now attracting, because now we're engaging ideas with the method of attraction, right? So creatively speaking, we are looking for the next thing, the next idea, the next improvement through attraction. I see this in the Seven of Wands and the Queen of Wands. And this idea of resting is like, carve out time for sleep, for good sleep, even if that looks like an afternoon nap. Carve out time to visit places that you love. For no reason, for no good reason. Make time for yourself to just rest, because this is where your clarity of your new ideas is going to be born from. And perhaps not in that exact moment. Underneath the deck here, I've got the Ten of Cups as I'm holding these cards. Do something just for you. Do some of the things, and this came up for me this morning as I was making my coffee and getting ready for the day. Make room for things that you've always wanted to do, but always waited for someone else or other people to do them with. Make room for those beautiful things. And do them. Don't wait. And I'm told this is going to surprise you. There's going to be a surprise in store on one of these, I want to call it an excursion. Whatever comes up there. They want somewhat of a change of scenery for you. This is important because in your subconscious, I have the Three of Wands and the Nine of Wands. And so this is you deciding, when am I going to move? Okay. And when I say move, please interpret that the way you understand it. But the way it was coming to me was, it could be a creative move. And so waiting for that moment where you're going to move, and you just kind of like, now or just now or okay, or in a little while longer. I laughed when I said just now, because just now is a South African expression. It means in a short while. And it took me a long time in my life to realize that other people don't know what that means at all. So just now, if I say it again, means in a very short while. It's also very non-committal. So it doesn't actually mean in a very short while. It means it's probably the next thing I'm going to do. Please wait a little bit. And so that's how this feels to me. It feels like what you're about to do, you're waiting for clarity on it. And you feel like you have some other stuff to do, but that you're willing to do it and want to do it just now. In your advice, they're saying, as you move, I've got the Six of Swords and the Four of Pentacles. They're saying during this season of your life, keep some stuff to yourself. Keep some of your moves to yourself, your plans, your thoughts. It allows the space to remain fluid and clear and free. And it's not about being secretive. It's just around, your manifestations, and it will speed them up, is what I'm hearing. It will speed them up. This idea of not exposing all of your thoughts, all of your ideas, this is something you've practiced, but may have been a reason why some of these things had delays. And so now that you're where you are now, as you contemplate these next ideas, they don't all need to be voiced, and they still require a form of protection. And this protection is actually not around other people's projections. It's more around your freedom of thought and your freedom to go back and forth as you wish, without feeling like you're changing anyone's plan, because these plans are all made within you. You're deliberating with yourself. And I pulled a clarity card and I got the Hermit. And so that's very much room to explore and wait for answers inside without any interference. And that would be your own interference, actually. Because the truth of the matter is we can talk about stuff till the cows come home. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. It's just that you would like to avoid delays. And the universe would like you to know that you're manifesting at a high rate right now, like fast. And just as we spoke about, that 818, how you're rowing and how you're allowed to slow down, you're in control. And so you can slow it down as you wish and you can speed it up as you wish. They're confirming that, and they're confirming that should you wish to speed something up, retreat and explore on your own. And allow these decisions, these creative decisions, these manifestations, these explorations to be born in peace. And from the outside, it will appear so fluid. And to be honest, it actually is a fluid process. It's just they're saying keep your own counsel. Continue to keep your own counsel and explore freely. And do not consider anything too wild, and do not consider anything too big. You're creating. You're in full manifestation mode. And what can happen is that when you reach that thing that you desire, and your gut or your mind creates like isn't that too much? Deal with that thought. Deal with that, is this too much thought? Because all it is like a flimsy gate between you and the next thing. And so yes, the gate exists, the flimsy gate exists. But now you just need to just lift the hatch. And so honor that process of lifting that hatch so that you can swing the gate open, because that's actually all it is. It's no longer this huge high barrier of rocks that's been built between you and the next thing. It's now a small, flimsy farm gate. And I'm picturing this like, I'm picturing a farm. And I'm reminded that I said, until the cows come home, it's like, I'm picturing a farm. You're like planting and you're growing stuff. and you're milking what you want to milk, and this is now your farm, and you've cultivated the most luscious ground, and you can now reap what you want to reap. And so some of these flimsy gates are just there to manage things and to organize things. They're not really there to restrict your movement. And so just acknowledge some of those thoughts as they come up and unlock it for yourself. Just think to yourself, no, that's like a past thought, or no, that's not too big. Actually, it would be quite nice. Okay, and then you open the gate and you pass through. That's how quickly your manifestation... I got lost there. I almost thought manifestating. That's how quickly you're manifesting ideas, changes. And when I look at your surrounding factors, that's what I'm seeing in the High Priestess, the 10 of Pentacles, and the 4 of Cups in reverse. I don't think I actually expanded on this fully earlier because I linked the High Priestess to the Queen of Cups. And so for me, these are like all of these offerings that are waiting to come in. And so in your near future, I do see they're coming in. That's the Knight of Cups. But in your surrounding factors, there they are, and they're not going to disappoint you. They're not going to disappoint you. That's what the 4 of Cups in reverse says to me. And, the 4 of Cups also has this meditative sense to it, which is like, wait for a while you think about things. These are the things that I'm referring to that are not going to take long, because the card is in reverse. And so it's a more brief meditation over this attraction that you have. And this is material things and it's creative ideas. These worlds of yours are rather intertwined. In the outcome, I have the 8 of Cups, the King of Cups, and the 7 of Pentacles. And I don't know how I'm going to explain this, how I've connected these cards to this, but what these cards are telling me is throughout this journey, there are things that you've had to leave behind. And the way you've managed to leave them behind is through this, cultivating this strong sense of self-love, loving yourself and, building love in your life. They're saying that you don't need to look back. They're not saying don't look back, but they're saying you don't need to look back to look after those things. Things maybe that you for a long time wanted to return back into your life. They're saying keep your gaze forward and keep planting seeds, because all of the stuff that you're not looking after, that you left behind, it's still coming together. And they're just saying you don't need to spend your energy looking back there. Keep your gaze forward, because those seeds are already planted. What you want out of that is already going to be resolved. It's already being resolved. And so this is to save your energy and not to taint your peace and your joy as you move forward, as you're creating. So a lot is actually happening in your favor in the background that doesn't need to be tended to. And on this farm, I'm seeing someone who's really set things up like an irrigation system. You don't need to, it's got a timer. You don't need to keep checking if the water's come on or not, if the sprinklers have come on or not. You've already sorted out everything you need to and put things where they need to be. So you can move forward, you can do other stuff. And so that kind of clarifies what I meant by, it's not that you don't care about that stuff, and it's not that you don't want that stuff back or whatever it is. It's to say it's being taken care of. I pulled a card from Ask Your Guides, and I got number 10, Family, Holy Spirit. And it says, security, elation, peace, family, harmony. The Holy Spirit is touching your soul, bringing about a deeper sense of peace and security. The challenges of the recent past are met, and thankfully, you've survived. Due to the Holy Spirit's influence, your trials have only strengthened your capacity to love, leaving you with an even deeper appreciation of those you love. The Holy Spirit particularly shines on your family and home as it heeds your prayers and oversees overall well-being at this time. There's no need to fret over your parents' health, your children's safety, or your siblings' happiness. All is well. Ask the Holy Spirit to expand your capacity to move beyond personal love and include all of humanity in your prayer for peace. Entreat the Holy Spirit to brighten your aura and allow others to see you as a source of contentment. The Holy Spirit's message: peace be with you. 3555 tells me, embrace the stability that is now in your life and release all of the worries that you have of anything that's unresolved or unfinished. Sending you love. If you're interested in a personal reading from me, I've left my details below in the description box.